Hello there, Leo. Thank you so much for stopping by for your weekly tarot video forecast for the week of April 29th through May 5th. I have cleared your deck already before the reading. Just putting the final shuffle on while we talk. This is a general reading, so not everything that I see here will apply to every single Leo who watches this. If you would like to have a private reading or a private Reiki session, all you have to do is check out my website, which is www.amista.info. All my contact information is there. You can get a hold of me and schedule whatever it is that you need, and we'll get you taken care of quickly. Okay, let's see what kind of cards you guys have coming up for the week, Leos. Okie dokie. We're going to start with your environment, which is any place you have energy or effort invested, Leos. And I do feel like there's something about your environment that is not working out. If this environment is talking about work, I feel like there's not a lot of work happening in that work environment. If this is something talking about home, there's something that is not working at home. It may be that, I don't know, maybe one of the kitchen appliances isn't working, so that makes it really hard to use the kitchen, or maybe the furnace has gone out or something like that. There's something that's not working at home. It could even be that whoever you're sharing your home with, you guys may be having some friction and things are not working out really well during the week with that person, or with, somebody in any one of your environments. Could be home, work, school, any place you have energy or effort invested, but something's happening that's not working real well in your environment there, Leos. Next thing that we have talks to me about subconscious leanings. Looks to me like you are thinking subconsciously either about all the money that you owe to other people or other companies, or all the money that other people or other companies owe to you. And your subconscious is really working on, okay, how can we get this evened out? If people owe me money, how can I collect that? If I owe money, how can I pay that off? For some of you, this may be both of those. It may be that if people paid you the money that they owed you, then you could pay off the people that you owe. And so you want that whole flow to work. But definitely one side or the other is on your mind as far as subconsciously during the week, Leos, if not both. Next thing that I'm looking at, Leos, talks to me about learning style and also about communication style. You're the second person to get this. I think that a lot of you Leos are doing either night school, or you're researching something that you want to know about in the evening. You're finding things out more in the evening than in the daytime whenever it comes to learning style. As far as communication style, it looks to me, Leos, like for this main theme of this week, there's somebody in your life that you're trying to communicate to. You're putting information out there. You're trying to get ideas across to them, but it's almost like whatever you're saying seems to be falling on deaf ears, like nothing seems to be heard, even though you're doing your best to communicate actually very well. The next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about work. Now, those of you who have been watching me a while know that work means that thing that you do to make a living, but it also means those things that we do to improve our own inner character. So we're going to look at making a living first. And so what I have coming up about work is there has been a lot of tension, a lot of stress at work. I feel like that has suddenly come to an end. For some of you, it's suddenly come to an end because you're like, I've had enough of this. I'm walking. You may not even have a second job lined up, somewhere to go to work, but you've had enough of the stress, the tension, the drama, and you're just out of there. You just can't handle it anymore, just out of there. I will have unemployment for a little while and I'll deal with it type of situation. I don't think that all of you have walked out. For some of you, I mean, the stress has alleviated because somebody else walked out. Maybe the person who was generating all the stress actually walked out. Wouldn't that be lucky? And then for others of you, you have a situation at work that was very stressful that I think you probably, either you or somebody else who is around your rank, or maybe even a group of people, had to go in and talk to higher ups about this situation to get it rectified, because your immediate supervisor or supervisors weren't doing anything about this. And so you had to go upwards to get it taken care of. For some of you, this could have to do with safety issues at work. For a lot of you, I think it has to do with safety issues. And also for a lot of you, this has to do with money issues at work as well. So a few different storylines just on that one card, but definitely stress being alleviated successfully one way or the other. Like Blondie says, one way or the other. All right, next thing that we have coming up talks to me about that part of your personality that's being grown or expanded this week. Looks to me like things are really out of balance. What I'm hearing for most of you is this is a difficult week emotionally. There's a lot going on. For some of you, I feel like there are memories of loved ones coming in that may have passed before. For others of you, this is other things going on that are making you feel more emotional. But I feel like usually when I have this card, when I look at it, I feel like, it can be coming in a few different ways. This time, I think it's all about emotions. It really feels very strongly emotional to me. And so you are, learning how to cope with your emotions being out of balance for whatever reason. Some of you may have hormonal things going on. Like I said, others of you may have anniversaries of deaths of loved ones or something like that. But there's definitely, you guys are learning how to deal with that imbalance on emotions, where emotions are kind of taking over you instead of you keeping your emotions under a certain amount of control. Okay? So, part of your personality that's being grown or expanded. Next, what we're looking at is those things that you stand for. What I'm getting here, Leo, is that you have gone back to the past some way. Okay, so maybe you've taken an old job back, or maybe you've gotten back into a relationship you used to have. I don't know exactly how this is playing out because it's going to be different for all of you. But there's definitely something old, and I feel like it's not that that old thing has come to you. Like, I don't feel like there's an ex that has rang your phone or knocked on your door. I feel like this is you, Leos, going back to that person or back to that situation or back to that memory. And I feel like this is, when you go back, I feel like this can be sort of a painful thing. And for some of you, I'm hearing one of you say, "Well, but I had to try." So for some of you, it may be an ex. It may be somebody that, you have some regrets about how things went down, and maybe you wish that you guys could still be together, or maybe you just want to say, "I'm sorry." Maybe you don't even hope for the two of you to be together. I don't feel like, Leos, this other person is really um, responding to whatever this is that you're trying to do or say in a very positive manner. I don't see them just welcoming you back with open arms and big hug. I see them more along the lines of, well, that's all well and great now, but at the time, this is what was going on. And, things have changed since then. I'm not the same person I used to be and just not interested. Okay. And I think that somebody will be saying to you, why are you doing this? Maybe even it's that person. And you're saying, well, I had to try. Okay. So you're standing up for yourself on that. The next thing that we're looking at talks to me about how other people perceive you. Interesting what's coming up here, considering what we just saw that you did or that you're going to be doing. Um, Basically, they're going to be seeing you in a way that says, um, they're going to be suspect of anything positive that you have to say. They're going to be thinking that whatever you're saying is sarcastic or it's manipulative or it's to set them up for something new. So they're not going to be seeing you in a very good light here. All right. Now, the next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about the lesson or experience of the week. And this is kind of the turning point thing. This is where the energy starts to shift, is when we go through this lesson or experience. And so what I have here is, um, you are looking back. Gosh, this really ties in together. You're looking back at the past and you're asking yourself, what was I thinking? Why did I make the choices that I made? Why did I say the things that I said? What was I thinking? Okay. That's listener experience, or the theme of the listener experience for the week. That's probably coming in more around Thursday-ish. As you are thinking this, what was I thinking thing, There is somebody that you're interacting with. This is going to be a female for most of you. For some of you, it could be a male who's got um, a less dominant type personality. Um, excuse me. So, this female that you're interacting with is somebody who thinks outside the box really well. She's very creative. She's very supportive and uplifting, and she does things in very creative ways, and she likes to be able to make you think in very creative ways. And I think that this person is somebody who is probably older than you. They've definitely experienced a lot more in life than you have, and they are really trying to help you to come into a more balanced perspective than what you are right now. As you're interacting with this person and as you're, thinking about all these things from the past, it makes you feel a little bit paralyzed, a little bit stuck, a little bit. I'm hearing like, what am I going to do? So this is not really a pleasant situation for you to be in. I think you're really thinking, like, what am I going to do? How am I going to go on from this? If I can't fix this, what am I going to do? And as we're going through that, or as you're going through that, Leos, I do see that you're starting to actually like see. This really sounds harsh, and I hate to say this even, but this is what's coming out. So if you've got to bash me, you've got to bash me. That's just the way it is. But I really feel like, Leos, during this week, you're coming into a place where you're seeing yourself more objectively than you have in a while. And you're starting to see what kind of impression or what kind of taste you would leave in somebody else's mouth by the way that you act. And you're starting to realize that you're not really leaving the types of impressions that you thought you were or that you would like to, which is, when realizing something like that is a good thing because you can't change anything until you realize and accept who you actually are. So, and I'm not saying that you always leave a bad taste in somebody's house or mouth, or that you're, always doing things that you wish you wouldn't have done. But you are seeing those areas where you do that, and you are realizing that you want to make some improvements there. You're starting to kind of understand other people's reactions to you that have been negative, um, because you are seeing things in a more objective way right now. Okay. So that's what I've got coming in for you, Leos. I hope that makes sense for you. For those of you that it doesn't feel like it applies, then, always check your rising sign or your moon sign. But then also, if you want to get a private reading, you can always check out my contact information on my website and do that. My website is www.amista.info. I look forward to working with any of you who would like to work with me, and I'll see you all next week. Peace out.